What's going on? Good people. L.A.R movement still moving. Um, this video kind of inspired by Faith. I was listening to her this morning while I was doing yard work, and I've saw other people talk about this topic where are you happy being single? Are you happy being single or not married or child free? And uh, I'm going to say people there are people out here who are lying, and I'm not just going to get on the women about this, but people are lying. What's up, David? And the reason I'm saying people are lying is because what really happens. Sorry about that, y'all. What really happens is people are talking about being okay when they're not okay. What's up, Elise? You know, he think I think you. Oh, it's about the shenanigans about to come. But the reason I'm saying people are lying is because a lot of a lot of what you see and hear aren't happy people when people are talking about being happy. You know, yeah, I did listen to Faith this morning. I did. What's up, astronaut? So, a lot of people saying that they happy, they're not happy. You can tell it in their voice, they're not happy. You can tell it when you see their face, they're not happy. And this idea that you're happy because you're single, the fact if you gotta say you're happy because you're single, just in my opinion, you're unhappy. Being single makes you happy. What it sounds like is you're accustomed to being in bad relationships. And what makes you happy is not being in bad relationships. You know, so no. It's beyond that, at least, because I'm talking about the other stuff too. What's up, Alicia? Because I saw, single mothers saying that the mothers saying that they're happy, single moms saying that they're happy. You're hearing women who don't want to have kids say that they're happy. You're hearing these women who say, I got my career, saying they're happy. Black Ice, what's up, fam? Just like, you don't necessarily hear the men talk about, ooh, I'm single and I'm happy. But even some of the guys who, with the sometimes the MGTOW or the quote unquote red pill energy is kind of unhappy. You get what I'm saying? Like, guys are saying that they're red pill, and guys are saying, that they're this, that, and the third, and they don't need women like that. But by the way they come off, they don't seem like they're happy people. You know what I mean? The eyes never lie. You got it, Terrence. What's up, cool man? And I beg to differ. That's all. I beg to differ because I'm at a point where, Prometheus, man, that's all love, Prometheus. Hell yeah, I'll do that. I'm off tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. After I finish this, I gotta go kick it. Nefertiti, what's up? But just email me, larmovement@gmail. We'll get it together, fam. We'll get it together. Sometimes I forget things, but we're gonna get it together. So now, this is where we at with it. Monday, all good then. This is where we at with it. I see a lot of people who did stuff in their past, and their excuse now is, I'm happy now. Because what it looks like, I appreciate that, Elise. What it looks like is it looks like a bunch of unhappy people trying to convince people that they're happy by saying, I'm happy, but at the same time, not really acting happy. And I'm going to start taking it in a different direction. One of the things that lets me know people are unhappy is a lot of people aren't taking care of themselves. You know, I was watching, what is that? Clips of Family or Fiance. And what I saw was a bunch of dysfunctional relationships needing, with dysfunctional family members needing, giving blessing. And what I saw throughout the whole show was a lot of overweight people, a lot of people who didn't look like they took good care of themselves, and a lot of dysfunction in the midst of that. Pretty gangster, what's going on? What's up, Brick? So, the chat, what's happening, fam? My bad. Uh, so what I'm looking at is a bunch of people like, you know what? I feel good. No, you don't feel good because you're not taking enough care. You're not taking good care of yourself to feel good. Now we're living in a society where people are not taking care of themselves, but you know, I'm wearing these certain clothes, so I'm happy. You're not happy. You're not really happy. What's going on, lady? So now it's like I'm not too sure. I've met people, I've dealt with people, and it starts to look like if you're not gonna take care of yourself, because when people don't take care of themselves, what some people do is they get belligerent and disrespect other people. So they treat other people like they want to treat themselves, but they're not taking care of themselves and they don't want to put their foot in their own behind to get it right. So I don't think these people are happy. I just don't. You know, when I peruse even social media and the internet, I see a lot of people who are easily triggered, who are easily offended. And happy people ain't that easily offended. You get what I'm saying? And even if a happy person is offended, it's like, okay, look, all right, whatever. You know, whatever it is, it's not a big deal. I ain't got to be around you 24/7. But I see so many people who, man, Kevin, thanks, man. I see so many people who gotta get into it with people. Like you cutting people crazy eyes. You looking at people sideways. You talking to people. You giving off that quote unquote negative vibe that everybody is an adversary. It's like, you're not happy. You're not happy. One of the terms that I don't like, when a person says I don't like drama, that's usually an unhappy, negative person who always creates drama. You know, it's like, come on, and it's like, okay, all right, this is what we doing, but I'm feeling good. Now it's another thing I got to go back and talk about with this. It's a feminism aspect of female happiness, and I hear this, and this wasn't just like going at faith and nothing like that. I rock with faith. But this is something I've seen and heard with the ladies for a minute. And guys do it too. Don't get it twisted. We just do it in different ways. If you go down a path, like when people say, now I'm happy because, I've learned that I don't need a man. But previous to that, you were saying you didn't need a man prior to that. That didn't work. And then you brought your negativity to men, and men didn't want it. And now you're saying, oh, you know what? I knew I ain't need no man in my life. I knew I ain't need no relationship because it only just dragged me down. Well, truth is, you set yourself up for failure, and you don't want to tell the world that you set yourself up for failure. Like other people don't get along with you. Now, I can X out, this part of it. Some of these single people are not happy for this reason. You don't even get along with people who you're not in trying to be in relationships with. See, happy people can get along with everybody, but unhappy people, it gotta be an issue. Gotta be an issue. Hey man, people get sad, Steven. People get sad. So it's like, same thing when sometimes when let me reverse this in a sense. When I talk to guys, and I'm like, growing up, getting older, a lot of guys don't like being players. Like a lot of guys aren't cut out for it. So they'll say they happy getting a bunch of women, but then they're not really happy. The same people who say, man, I can get this one, I can get that one, is the same guy who's talking about how I want to settle down and be with one woman. Because he just don't want to go through the back and forth of meeting this one, meeting that one, talking to this one, talk. He just get tired of it. He says he's happy doing it, but he's not really happy doing it. I'm chasing these skirts, I'm getting sex. The sex, the meaningless sex, as Kendra Crimson Cure, salute to her, she would say that meaningless sex catch up with you. It makes you unhappy because it's like, what am I doing? This is what I'm doing this is what I'm chasing every week. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm living for, to do this. That's it. And it becomes draining. It's just ridiculousness. He's a pre-selection. I dig that. So now it's like, okay, where are all the happy people at? Because I don't see a bunch of happy people. And the crazy part about it is, when people are saying they happy being single, here's the funny part about it. How somebody gonna know? Because if you're single, that means nobody's around. So you trying to tell the world you happy when nobody's around. They wouldn't know if you lying or telling the truth. You could tell the world you happy in front of a camera and then be crying in your room by yourself. Playing love songs or something. I want somebody to love me. But you say, like, single and happiness don't equate. Because I could see it in people's face after a while. Man, thanks. Hold up, John. Oh man. Hey man, keep going down that path. You're gonna be a psych major. Make sure you graduate, get a master's or something, open a business, do some counseling like D. Durrell. Be like D. Durrell. Salute to him. Be like D. Durrell. And the community needs more people like you, bro. The community needs that type of help. We need a lot of psychological help because this is what's going on with us. Hey, congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. Because a lot of us are not really, we're not really there mentally. We say we're there, but we're not really there. We don't want to deal with a lot of things. Because I was listening, I'm sorry about that. I was listening to that show, and one of the things that I've seen, I've dealt with, is this constant thing that we have with people who swear they okay, they cool. You want to have a conversation, and when it's a tough conversation, you get mad, blow up, and walk off. I'm done. I don't want to talk about this. I'm through. I don't. So let me get this right. And this happens with a lot of quote unquote single people. You single, you happy doing you. You want to talk to everybody about some truth. What's popping? But if something gets a little too hectic for you or too adult-like, you blow up and walk away like a little child. Happy people don't do that. Happy people don't. Oh, you know what? I'm sick of this. I can't take it. I gotta go. I'm done. I just walk off. No. Oh, congratulations to you too, fitness mom. Nicole, what's happening, lady? What's up, David? Aunt Faith, what's up? It started with you this morning. I'm just spreading it out some. But I just don't believe a lot of these single people are happy. I just don't. They act too silly. Like a lot of people are unhappy because they're materialistic. Let me just be honest with it. Materialistic. Like when a lot of people, things make them happy. So I know for a fact things don't make you happy because you got to get another thing to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, oh, I'm so happy if I get this. I'm so happy when I get this. I'm so happy when I go here. I'm so happy when take this vacation. I'm so happy if I go to this restaurant. I'm so happy if I got this name brand thing. I'm so happy if, that's not happy. That's paying people to feel like you feel important. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're at. And you know what? Let me do this. You know what? Hold up. Hold up. I'm tripping right now. Cause Faith, this wasn't about you per se. It's that topic. Because I've been hearing that topic for like a week and a half now. But I'll put the link in the chat just in case. Just in case anybody. So Faith, if you want to come, y'all want to come, I'm willing to have this conversation just in general because I'm not buying that these people are happy. I'm just not. It doesn't, when you listen to people's, you be around people and they see their demeanor and they is unhappy. Like what was it's September, next month is October. A lot of people are gonna be looking, like Halloween. They're gonna look like Halloween today till Halloween. I don't want your candy because it's stuck in horror, unhappy vibes. Candy's supposed to be happy. You're not. I don't want your negative Kit Kats. You understand what I'm saying? Like people are not what they say they are. They're just not. Now, I'm gonna take it somewhere because a lot of people, who say this stuff. There's a lot of people getting evicted. There's a lot of people who lost their jobs, and a lot of these people who say they're happy, they're gonna have to stand on it because they're gonna be a lot of American people who are gonna be on their own and by themselves. And the question is, are you gonna want to get with somebody and couple with somebody to get you through the rough times? Because these times are about to get hard and probably exceedingly hard for people who are on their own. Like a lot of people, unfortunately, can't make good decisions or stand up on their own. So we finna see where this actually gonna go, because a lot of people I see getting more and more unhappy. Let me say the difference. I've seen happy women, happy single women in recent months, but those happy single women are happy with themselves, but they're looking for a man. They're just looking for a man who's also happy. You know what I'm saying? They're not like, this is great. No, they're like, no, I feel good about me. And I'm at the point where I'm bringing something good to the table, because a lot of people don't want to admit that a lot of modern day relationships right now is a broken person looking for a fixed person to fix them. You know what I'm saying? A mean person looking for a happy person to make them happy. A broke person looking for a person who's rich or got it together to quote unquote level them up to get them out of the hole that they're in. So a lot of this stuff is, a lot of people are getting their heart broken in a sense because they want somebody to fix their internal situation. And that ain't finna happen. Can't nobody fix your internal situation. Can't nobody fix you. You gotta fix you. And a lot of times, a lot of people not happy with the task of fixing themselves. A lot of us don't want to grow up. I got you, Faith. Give me 1 second, sugar. 1 second. Oh snap! Let me do this. Yeah, I can do
Hello?
yeah. You there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you
I'm
just
still in
fine.
the truck, so you might hear a little bit of the truck in the back.
No problem. Uh-oh.
Okay, I hear what you're talking about, L.A.R. And so far, like I said, you know, you can't be happy if you're not happy within yourself. So everything that you're saying, as far as people, you're looking for other people to make them happy. Well, you're not going to find happiness externally. Happiness starts on the inside. So, when women are saying that we're happy, being single, that's something that, and that's what I said in my live stream earlier. I'm not talking about women who are lying, who actually still, desire to be in relationships. I'm talking about the women who are genuinely happy from the inside out. Now,
Oh,
if you're not happy, then of course, yeah, you're gonna be miserable.
no, I got what you was talking about, but this is my man tears coming out. But what I gotta, what I'm talking about at this particular point is there's a faction of people who lying about being happy. And I just want them to know it's obvious that we know that you're lying about being happy. And this ain't just women. This is just people in general, single people in particular. Because a lot of people wouldn't be out drinking as much, partying as much, eating as much, like looking for a company or companionship, just out in the streets and in the sheets if they was really that happy.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. You do have a lot of people that's like looking into self-medicating. That's what I call it. When you gotta go and eat your way into happiness or drink your way into happiness. No, you're not happy. You're just trying to self-medicate. And see that right there, that's the lie. You're not fooling nobody but yourself when you're doing this. And I see a lot of it online. I see a lot of people self-medicating online. They get on these live streams and they make a fool of themselves as half the time they're drunk or they're busting it wide open on camera. They're doing things like this to get attention because they're not happy with themselves. And it shows, the unhappiness shows, no matter how much they smile or try to pretend to everybody else.
Let me. I was talking earlier about I've been watching clips of this show with Family or Fiance, and I've seen so many people on that show who they keep. I give you my blessing. I give you, and I'm thinking to myself, y'all know these people ain't gonna make it. Because you look at two people who are unhappy with themselves trying to be together and make something positive, and everybody's just and nobody wants to say, nah, this ain't going. You could get married, but this might not last. You get like, and the reason I bring that up and I brought that up is because there was something that I saw in particular in that show that made me go, okay, I see what's going on. One thing was there were rarely any fathers on the show, and you got to pick who would come to be on your side. And I saw when they would pick people, you would pick people who would let you do whatever you wanted to do, and didn't really call you out, and didn't really look at the situation and be fair to both parties. And
Right.
the reasons that I and tie that into this is because a lot of people are saying that they're happy because I want to do what I want to do. That makes me happy. Doing me makes me happy. But unfortunately, so many people do them to the point that they do themselves into a ditch. But then they want to say, it's everybody else's fault that why they're in the ditch, and it's everything else that made them unhappy. When they was doing them, it was all good. I'm like, no, no, you just was childish. Now, did I go too far?
No, no, you didn't. But here's the thing, and somebody said it down there in the chat. The problem is that you're not going to be able to fix another person if that person doesn't realize, especially at our age. I can see if they're still in their 20s, they're still learning. But by the time you get to your 30s and up, if you don't know by then what it is that you need to do to fix you, to self correct, to course correct your own life, and you're not getting on that path, then you can't blame anybody else but yourself, and nobody else is going to be able to force you to go on the right path. That's something that you're going to have to find from within yourself. Now, the friends, the people that sit around there and laugh at you while you're sitting up there making a damn fool of yourself, those ain't your friends. Those are people that been looking, for you to fail the whole time. And sometimes you'll be surrounded by haters like that. They know that you're going down the wrong path, and they just happy to see the downfall. So they're gonna sit up there. If you're an alcoholic and you're going down the path of becoming an even bigger alcoholic, they're not gonna say anything.
I'm
So you have to really pay attention to the company that you're keeping too. But
I'm
also,
going.
if
I'm
you
sorry.
gotta also be the type of person that's open to the criticisms. Just like there was this one female YouTuber. I'm not gonna name nobody's name, but there was somebody that was a friend to her, and she tried to tell her, hey, you going down the wrong path. But she would rather listen to the people that's cheering her to go down the wrong path. So she just wasn't ready.
I'm a I'm a jerk for what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
Part of what you just said, a thought sparked in my mind. A lot of people, a lot of single people are failing at being single. And what I mean by that is they're they're trying to be independent because of a trauma. They're not trying to be independent or single or self-sufficient because of something because they're because that's what they actually want to do. They had a bad childhood. I want to be on my own. You get what I'm saying? Like they had a bad experience with a relationship when they were young or even in their early adulthood. I want to be on my own. They had a bad experience in college or the city that they lived in. So I want to move and I want to be on my own. And it's like, well, you fail in that being because at the end of the day, I've known and I know a lot of people who are single who are not really comfortable actually being by themselves. Like just in the house by themselves. They can't handle that. They can't handle a quiet environment with just them there.
Okay.
You know, a lot of these people out here, this is why people don't want to talk about the truth about their DMs and their messages and their, how can I say, hooking up practices. Because,
Okay, I got you. I got you.
the loneliness creeps in of, I don't want to be around me like this. Or the self-doubt or the low self-esteem, all of that stuff kicks in. Because some people start getting to that point where, nobody wants me. And I know people on the opposite end of that spectrum that are single and one of the reasons that they're happy is because they know people still want them. But when that numbers dwindle down, you kind of see them start to crack. And it's like, so you really don't like being with you though.
Well, here's what I got to say to that, L.A.R. If the person is no longer attracting the people that they used to attract, what can they really do about it? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to get old. Everybody's going to start aging and getting, unattractive. So at some point, there's not going to be much you can do about it. So that means that person is going to have to adapt. And see, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Some people can adapt and some people can't.
That's the crux of my thought about people. The vast majority of people cannot adapt. They because a lot of us play the victim. We're trying to cope, not adapt.
Right. And
And
see, it's the coping. That's part of the learning and healing process. To be honest with you, During that person's coping journey, they're going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to look like a big old fool because for some people, they don't understand that the stove is hot, that the fire is hot until they get burnt a few times.
And
And unfortunately, that's, I'm telling the truth.
that's why I'm laughing. That becomes to me it's like, okay, I know what you really want at the end of the day, and what you really want is a pass. There are a lot of people who just want to pass.
Right.
That's like when you hit a certain age, ain't no passes. And I've seen it time and time again where you see people say, I'm ready. I'm making a change. I'm doing something for the better. You know what I mean? Like I'm at like I hear so many, and I like the age that we're in where people say that they get motivated and inspired, but I can tell the difference between you repeating words and you actually believing them and putting some effort into it. And what I see a lot of single people, I'm gonna speak something into existence, but you're not really gonna do anything to put it into existence. So I don't trust your quote unquote rhetoric at times, because it's like, are you really, are you serious? Because it might be just me, but I believe that a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about women, just so you know, I'm talking about men and women. A lot of people are not serious. And when it comes down to it, you know, what makes a lot of people actually happy is being able to be a grown child and not take life serious. What makes people upset is actually knowing you're not a child no more. You got to do adult things. So you're unhappy being an adult. And
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm not too sure this is ever going to work, because I've seen too many times. Well, like, okay, let me say it this way. Have you, because I talked about this earlier, you ever met guys who they were quote unquote players, but you could tell they wasn't happy being players?
Yeah, I have. I've met guys like that before, but they always got used, because they weren't good at what they were doing. They were just doing it out of some kind of feeling that they had to do.
Yeah. Because that's not what they made for. That's just, and a lot of us, in my opinion, don't know who we are. So we can't stay in our lane because we're trying stuff. We don't know where our comfort zone is. It's okay to get outside of your comfort zone, but we don't actually know where our true comfort zone is because we're just all over the place. There comes a point where you got to rein that thing in, and a lot of us don't do that. But
That's true. That's true.
I've been wishing, because in my opinion, when it comes to relationships, black men and black women, they're easy. The solutions to me are very easy, but I think people don't want to do the work that the solutions require. And so that becomes the problem. And people want to be single, cool, be single. But I've noticed too many people who are unhappy being single.
There's a lot of people that's unhappy being single.
Like what you talking about, I get that. But I don't. Those are, to me, those are my minority of people. They're not the majority. And I wish the majority of the black community would have better mental and physical health, but I think the majority of us don't.
No, because and I know what you're talking about. Like, I can look at it from a woman's perspective because I've seen many women, many black women, they make excuses as to why they want the type of men that they want, but they don't want to do what they need to do in order to get these so-called men, that have all the things that they say that they want. They want the six figures. They want the guy to look nice, have the six pack, be 6 feet tall. You know, the list that everybody talks about online. And there are a lot of women with those unrealistic expectations that look like Lizzo. I'm just using Lizzo as an example.
Well, and this goes both ways, men and women. I know something's up when everybody got the same list. Because for the most part, people want to say how different they are from everybody else and how much of an individual they are. But you put them in a room, everybody got the same list. So really, you don't. To me, that's a red flag and a telltale sign that you really don't know what you want. You want what everybody else thinks is going to be good, but you don't know what's good for you. Because I noticed a lot of people get to that point where like they get everything they ask for and they realize it's not good for them.
Oh yeah, because like I said, there was a lady that I worked with. She had the guy with the six pack. He was 6 feet tall. He made decent amount of money. Didn't make as much as her, but he turned out not to be good for her because he was using her. He was not the big earner that was lavishing her with gifts. She was the sugar mama in that relationship. And so you could tell that she looked like a shrunken, flower standing next to him because she was doing everything that she could to please this man in this relationship to keep him on her arm as her arm candy, as her, bragging rights. And it looks real bad. It's a bad look when a woman is doing this. And everybody knew. So she wasn't hiding it from nobody. See, a lot of times these people be thinking that they're getting over, that they're getting ahead, that they're hiding something from everybody, but everybody knew. Her low self esteem stood out like a sore thumb every time that guy came around because we noticed how he treated her. And he didn't treat her like she was anything special. But we noticed how she looked at him and how she treated him.
And that becomes problematic. Like I know of guys who wound up being gigolos and male, prostitutes. And I know of guys who wind up being, arm candy. And what I find interesting about that is everybody knows what they really like. We all adults. For the most part, you know what kind of situation you get into when you get into it with people, and you know what kind of situations you avoid. You know, I don't understand. When when people hitting a certain age, we act like we don't know what's going on, and that I just can't. I can't fathom. Like you're not getting caught off guard by a lot of things when you hit about 30. It just don't it don't register to me.
No, because we're lying to ourselves. If somebody asks a question about the scenario I just put out there, she got what she wanted. No, not really. I mean, in her mind, she got what she wanted, but she's like a hamster on a hamster wheel trying to keep it because she's way out of her lane.
You know,
Like,
I ain't gonna. If I said it, I'll be trifling.
no, but go ahead, let it loose because it needs to be said. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, for the ladies, if you think your job is gonna get you arm candy, you're no different than the old guy buying the young girl. It's the same exact situation. I mean, all the way around. Because normally the old guy is old, he's out of shape. Normally she's older than the guy and out of shape compared to him. You know, normally people look at you funny in public both ways. Normally they don't really want to be really tied to you privately like that. And you're paying for time from a person you know is going to inevitably leave you. So to me, it's like if you think this is going to get you somewhere, it's not. But people like to act like, I can keep them. I can keep somebody, and you can't. You know, I know the type of men and the type of women who go from house to house, they act exactly the same. They find people basically exactly the same way. They're looking for lonely people who don't want to fix themselves up properly, and I'm gonna make you feel better. I'm here. You gonna pay? You paying me to make you feel better. And then the other person is like, I'm actually a better person than you because I'm the prize because I'm getting paid to make you feel better. And then when you get tired of them, you throw them back out on the street. Or if they leave you, then you like, I can't believe this. But it's gonna happen. Sorry about that. I just had to say it.
No, you're not wrong. Speak your man. Because, like I said, things like this, it doesn't get said. And the way that you said it, it wasn't in a disrespectful way. I don't think nobody, no woman in here should be, upset at how it was said or how you said it because it's the truth. And you didn't say it in a way that alienated anybody. These conversations need to be had because you do have a lot of women out here that are going to say they want all this ridiculous criteria, but you yourself are not fitting the criteria to qualify for what you're looking for and to actually be happy with it.
I okay, so today, see, I caught you while I was like today. Uh, Basically, I got up in the morning. And me and my lady went on like a 5-6 mile hike in the park, right? So I came back. I was cutting the grass when I was listening to you, and then after that, I took a shower and I went to the gym. Now, when I was at the park and at the gym, this is what I always notice. And I was asking my woman about this last night watching these clips of these shows. Nobody knows what a 10 is. Everybody thinks they're a 10 or a 9 or an 8. So when you out in public, everybody's overvaluing what they actually are. And I'm sitting, so when it comes down to it, when it comes to the men, when it comes to the women, I've never seen the men and women sit down and had a conversation of this. A woman say, this is what a 10 is as a man. This is a 9, this is an 8, this is a 7, 6, 5. And I've never seen a man say, this is a 10, this is a 9. That conversation has never really happened.
But here's the thing, we will never actually know what the actual elusive 10 is. Because, you got some people saying Beyonce is a 7.
And I can
And then you got other people thinking that Beyonce is a 10. So we don't actually know what that elusive 10 really is. I just think that you have to be the best you that you can be.
See, like I've had this debate even with my friends, family. I personally have a different way to do this because I get tired of the shenanigans. A 10 needs to be ranked by your age group, and then you go down. Because we try to make everybody, a 10 can be any age. No, what's a 10 at 50? What's a 10 at 40? What's a 10 at 30? What's a 10 at 20? Because those are completely different 10s. Because somebody come along and say, oh, I'm a 10. You was a 10 years ago. Now you're not. When people say Beyonce is a 10, how old is Beyonce?
True.
Because I would say, like, I've said this before, Nicole Murphy to me is a 10 for her age group. Or Jada Pinkett's mama is a 10 for her age group. You know what I'm saying? So when you get like the women, I'm sorry, Faith fell off. When she come back, she come back. Like yeah, is that Halle Berry stayed at 10. I feel that, but she stayed attractive over the years. But we at a point. What's up, Miss J? There's no to me. There's no such thing as a universal 10. I'm gonna do this again. Hold on. Vanessa Williams could be considered a 10. At what time period? See, a lot of us try to play that game that it's all good. Beyonce 39. Tell me, she about to be 40. She would be up there in upper echelon of fine for 40. That's what I'm gonna say. That's how I'm gonna put it. A lot of the fellas, the women see a 10 as The Rock or Michael Jai White, because I think he's 50. Then you go down, then you go down. That's okay. I put the thing back in the chat just in case, babe. I figured that. I know you driving. you know. So now it's a societal thing, because a lot of the men, a lot of us, I remind people of the Rock went. You talking about the first Rock when he had the hairstyle and he was kind of flabby swole, like, or you talking about him now? Like, which one? This is where 49 liver spots. This is where we at. And Miss J, you could come. It's all good. But a lot of us, I don't think a lot of us people are being honest about being happy and single. I think a lot of us are just playing. Yeah, Jada Pinkett Mom is definitely a 10 for 8. Definitely. But a lot of us don't know what is what. What is 10? What is 9? What is 8? The men, we the same way. Because the people say, oh, a 10 is such and such and such and such. 10 is a billionaire if he's a man. A 9 is a millionaire. An 8 is somebody making 6 figures. This is how we play this game. And you can't equate, but this guy's fine, it shoots him to the top. It don't work. It don't work that way. It just don't. I got you. Hold on, Miss J. Hold on. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Just got to make sure.
Yeah.
Y'all, I was listening to y'all earlier, and I was like, I just don't think a lot of these single people are happy. I just don't. Just by the way that they conduct themselves. It just doesn't. No. But what part you wanted to talk about?
I mean, I can talk whatever part you wanted to.
Go for it. I mean, I've been talking. You've been here, so shoot.
I was saying there's a difference between being happy with not necessarily being in a relationship, and then like being happy with overall things in life. That can be two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that was the conversation that we were having earlier. Like right now, I have an issue with my mom's health. So, and then we also have, of course, the Rona, which is killing everybody's lifestyle and everything like that. So, of course, you're not going to be thrilled with life overall, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhappy because you're not dating someone. There's different levels to things.
I definitely get that. I'm of the opinion that a lot of people aren't necessarily, like I said it earlier in a sense. I don't think a lot of people are happy with themselves. So even being single, you can't really be happy because you're not happy.
Right.
With you.
Right. I'm saying because being in a necessarily in a relationship doesn't mean it's gonna, solve your problems. So I think too many people think that nobody else is gonna necessarily make you happy. You know what I mean? You have to find that within yourself. And people who go out there thinking that someone else can make them happy, they just end up making the other person miserable. Because nobody else can solve your problems. You have to do it yourself. Like someone else can add to your life, of course. So I mean, that can happen, but nobody else can fundamentally make you whole. That it doesn't work like that.
You know what? I'm gonna try to ask this question properly. Do you think that most people even know what it takes to make themselves whole?
No. Nowadays, no.
That's a problem. That's a definite problem.
And also, I just think nowadays, back in the day, at least from what I've heard, there were people who had, there were more families that were together. There were more friendships and stuff that were together. People did more things as a community together. Nowadays, you don't have that. A lot of stuff is moved online. People have more, people are closer to their coworkers than they are their family. Grandparents don't live close by anymore. Aunts and uncles don't live close by no more. People aren't raised with their cousins and so forth and so on. And I think because of that new dynamic that we have, it's harder to have to have what we used to have. So, it's more individualism nowadays. That's just society in general. Maybe it's because a lot of us, we're living more in like urban areas. So, the family's not together like it was in like rural times. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things going on, but I just think that's just society in general.
Well, what you said, you made me think about something. So, what it looks like to me is something similar. It looks like people have lied about the past. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, you got a faction of people who ran away from that old school family structure
Mhm.
because two things that family structure had that some people didn't like: honesty and responsibility. See, there was a
Right.
lot of honesty in it, and you had to be responsible for something. A lot of people ran from that. And then you got other people who said, something negative happened and they ran from that. But
But
what it looked,
I think just the way our society in general, not just in America, but I think overall, you almost can't have that anymore because everybody's jammed back together based on technology, based on the kind of jobs that are available. You have to you're almost forced to live that kind of life if you want to have any sort of quote unquote good lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like
no,
you're not going to find too many high paying jobs in certain areas where you can have more of a laid back lifestyle. You had more time, you can sit down together and do stuff. Now everybody, people working and they work in part-time jobs or they're working a full-time job and a part-time job. This life is just different. It's more fast-paced.
yeah,
And I think
actually, I'm
and
sorry.
I think people just can't I think people certain people just can't keep up with that.
Actually, the old school people had less time. We have far
Well,
more time than they had
I
because
mean,
the things that we can do in an instant, it took them time to do. A lot of them worked longer hours. A lot of them
I'm
had
saying
these
you
had
just
different commutes. I'm sorry.
no, I'm saying maybe, but I'm just saying you just have more to do now. Yes, you have certain technology that helps, like washing dishes, doing clothes, stuff like that is lesser. But what you have to do nowadays to keep a certain lifestyle takes more time, more energy. It's more stressful to do. You know what I mean? And
You're
nowadays,
not the
especially with
people
two
watching.
people,
I'm
I'm
listening.
saying also now you have two people working outside the home. There's not really someone there to watch the kids. The way school is different. It's just, and then you add social media and the internet where you're just bombarded with different stuff. It's just a lot. It's a lot for human beings to handle nowadays, and I think that that can also make you unhappy.
Well, I mean, like, okay, like I was one of the kids who was raised by grandparents, right?
Mhm.
So the things I watched my grandparents do, forget. Let's take the cooking and cleaning out of it, right?
Mhm.
I had to watch. They had to, the drive to pay the bills in separate places. The drive
Right.
to pay the water bill, the drive to pay the gas bill, the drive to pay the electric, to be in that line. You know what I'm saying? That would happen. Or, the layaway or the drive to J.C. Penney's or Sears or this, that, and the third.
Right. But I'm
That,
saying nowadays you don't have families that do stuff together to help do the load. Everybody's doing stuff themselves. Like you don't a lot of times, like I was for the part of my life was also raised by my grandma too. My mom went ahead and worked. That doesn't really happen anymore. There are kids who basically they just come home and they're just raised by the TV, or they're raised by what they see their friends do, or they're raised by social media. There's no real adult to really parent them. And
well,
you that can add a kind of a stress to your life. You can also that can also add to loneliness where you don't really have another human being there with you. Everybody has friends, their friendships are like online. You know what I mean? So it's not like a real, it's sort of like a fake family almost.
That I mean, I get that. That's what I see in society. That's funny to me now is that the kids actually have more time than they did back in the day, but they do less.
I mean, they do less because they're not being guided. They're just being bombarded. And
Yeah, but
their brains can't handle everything that's coming at them.
yeah, but we did. We weren't. How can I put this? Like when you said, okay, let me go backwards a little bit. When I talked about responsibility, and you was like, people don't live in, they live in different sections. Families used
Mm-hmm.
to live in different cities and used to go to a different family member. So they could send you to a different part of the United States to be with that family member, regardless of how the economy was. You could go to your
Right.
country family, you can go to your city family, you can go to your
Right.
family in the south, the east, and you could spend time there and actually soak up, the culture and have a different life, even have different
Right.
friends. We
Right.
don't even do that anymore.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We don't have the same kind of human interactions that we had in the past, and that can end up, with you having symptoms of like depression and loneliness. What they say can be as deadly as some of the most, what they say is one of the most deadliest things that can happen to a person is that kind of loneliness. It can ends
But
up shortening your life and all the rest of the stuff. So yeah, I'm
because
saying,
I
but that's why you have the kind of situation that we have now with the higher depression rates, the higher suicide rates, because we don't have those person to person relationships anymore.
I think some of these person to person, I think people have put in a lot of effort. Hold on, Faith, about this. I think people in society have put in a lot of effort to make to get away from person to person relationships.
Yeah,
Because I don't know when the last time I seen a group of kids riding bikes together. I don't know
it
when the
does
last
happen.
time I
They play video games online, or they're on, you know, TikTok and stuff like that. But
and,
I'm saying, but that's a false sense of community. So it's
right.
just it's just different. So I mean, but that can be the reason why you're having more problems. But I mean, the same thing also used to be back in the day where you can have a job for 20 to 30 years, and you have those kind of bonds with your coworkers. So you were gonna know them for a very, very long time. A lot of times they were your next door neighbor, so forth and so on. Nowadays, with the job situation, it's very fluid. I mean, I've had a ton of jobs. I don't remember 90% of my coworkers, their name. Never mind seeing them day to day. That's just, you don't have those kind of situations that you had back in the past. Is that sort of community? A lot of times you would also go to the same church for the longest period of time. Unless you happen to move to a different city, you stayed in the same church. We don't really go to church anymore. So I mean, it's all these different things that it takes away from the person to person relationships.
But it also takes away from, like, I'm gonna say this and then Faith say whatever you gotta say. What you're saying is something I've seen over the years. Basically, what's going on to me is what happened is we created generations of socially awkward people who think that they're
Yeah,
better than we are.
And,
Go ahead, Faith.
I
I
was just
mean,
gonna
yeah,
say facts at L.A.R. What that last thing that he said, that's the nail, the bullseye exactly. You have a whole group of socially awkward people that think that they're better than they actually are, and that's even with the self correction. And that's what I wanted to come back in here and talk about, because you got a lot of people out here that's into this whole correcting their image on the outside, but they don't correct who they are on the inside. So no matter how much you hit the gym, you done got the six pack, you done went to the doctor and you done, blew the chest up and got the booty shots and all that type of stuff. You're correcting what you think is wrong on the outside, but on the inside, you're still socially awkward.
but I'm saying that's
On the
because of
inside, when you,
but that's because of social
mhm,
media. That's because of social
yeah,
media. It's all about how you look. That's how you become popular. Is visual. They're not getting to know people from who they are as a person. It's all about that false sense of
Well,
popularity. And
well,
they don't know how to be social. They don't know how to socialize. They're not socially awkward. They don't know how to.
gonna say
They
this.
can't. They can't form. When you talk to these younger people, they can't have a full conversation. They don't know how to look you in the eye. If you took their phone away, they die. They don't know what to do without it.
I'm going to say this to
I,
make. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Faye?
yeah,
Yeah.
What I
yeah, I hear
what
you.
I ain't gonna. I'm gonna be short with this. What I noticed the most now. What we think people who are trying to be cool now are actually what would be back in the day the lame people who are trying to be cool, because people would judge on either you actually being cool or what you were able to do, and then there was the crowd behind that followed those people.
Yeah.
Like all this is the crowd of followers are replicating themselves and nothing's being done.
Yeah. But I'm saying that
Yeah,
that's
and
kind of
also some of these people. hmm
no. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that some of these people have not gotten past high school in their minds. So when they get to be in their 20s, their mid 20s, early 30s as adults, they try to relive as an adult, being that cool kid as an adult. And so this
Hmm.
is where you have the people working on the outside, but they have never ever thought, you know what, I am an awesome person just being who I am. They never came to terms with who they are. And see,
Right.
this is where you have people that look good on the outside because they worked on that outside. They got that outside down pat, but they can't move around confidently around other people. They're still not confident, and it shows. They don't
What
know who they are. They don't know what they bring to the table really within their own personality. They're not comfortable in their own skin, even though they've made all these changes on the outside.
what about the
So once
majority? Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
I'm gonna be a jerk. Just preface this. What about the majority of the people who don't look good on the outside, but have the confidence that everybody can tell is fake? That oh, but I'm feeling confident about myself. Like I did this video a long time ago, and I did one for the men and one for the women. Beards, bellies, and bad fashions. Weaves, bellies, and bad fashion. The vast majority of us are people who do not look good on the outside, but are trying to walk stoically and heroically and act like we're the creme de la creme. And it's like, you're
But
becoming
I'm saying
annoying.
if you raise a certain generation to always trying to pick up their self esteem, you always talk about self esteem. You don't talk about what they actually accomplish, but what they feel. That's what you're gonna have. A bunch of people who are pretending to be something that they're not, because that's what you train them to be. You have people from
Right.
with the participation trophies. You didn't really win anything. You sucked terribly, but you still got a trophy. Nobody wanted to make people feel bad, so they basically just told them, build your confidence up, have self esteem, love yourself. Now you got a whole bunch of people who love themselves way too much, and this is the result. We trained them to be that way. Can't
That's
be
what I
mad.
that's what I meant earlier about people left that they left the honesty and the responsibility in the family. They did that on purpose. What I'm looking at is a bunch of people in society who set up these situations on purpose, and now they act like I don't know how we got here.
But I'm saying
These are the people.
a lot of people weren't
But
even trained that way by their
explain.
parents. But I'm saying a
So
lot of people weren't trained that
But
way by their parents. They went to school, they went to other places who, you know, it was from a top down thing. Most people nowadays, it started with our generation and it's gone on where you're not completely raised by your parents. Your ideals didn't come from your parents. Your ideals came from society, school, media, things like that.
I get what you're saying. You want me to
well,
explain it?
I think that's part of it. Yeah, L.A.R, what you just said, I need you to break that down a little bit more.
We have people who were raised by their family, right? And they didn't like certain things, but those things were effective and they worked and they made them a good person. But they decided, you know what? When I have kids, I'm gonna get out of this place. I'm gonna move out of here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna lead this type of raising and parenting alone, and I'm gonna do it the way I want because my feelings got hurt, or I wish they had done something. And then they raised their children the way they felt like would have been great for them, and then the kids don't turn out like them, and then they go, I don't know how we got here.
But also part of it was because a lot of people were raised with the very abusive tactics, and of course, people are going to want to turn away from that.
Well,
a lot of us weren't raised with loving homes. It was tough discipline, but it wasn't really loving homes. It's going to make you feel a certain way.
I get what
and so
they
overcorrected. They went too much the other way, and now we're dealt with this.
No,
right.
Let me say it this way, Miss J. Just from my experience, a lot of people. There's a big difference between abusive homes and getting your ass whipped because you was a bad kid. You got people who got the vast majority of people who got their ass whipped for being a bad kid, who lied and said that they was in an abusive home. So the same things that they did to get they asses kicked as a kid that was wrong, they let their kids get away with it. And then their kids became that kid that needed their ass whipped.
Right, but I'm saying it's not necessarily people were just getting the spankings. People talk to their kids really crazy. They call. I mean, I have friends who they're emotionally and every other kind of way damaged to this day, including alcoholism. Not because their parents beat them, but the way their parents talk to them. We had some really harsh, mentally damaging parenting styles. And then they grew up, and then they decided, okay, I'm not going to go ahead and do this, but they decided not to discipline their kids. So now you see it the other way, where you can't talk bad about my kid. You can't say this about my kid, because it's like they went too far the other way. You have to discipline your child. You just can't be abusive about it.
Right. Now, I do kind of agree with both of you because when L.A.R. made that clarification, I immediately thought about the Jackson kids with Joe Jackson.
That's just the stuff they put on in the TV show. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of stuff was rampant in certain households.
But see, I don't really think that Joe Jackson was as abusive as those kids were letting on, though.
No, he was probably more.
No, he wasn't.
I don't think he was.
Joe Jackson was a total ass. People who were around the kids, who saw how he treated the children, Here's
the irony about Joe Jackson. Most people judge Joe Jackson from an actor on a movie about the Jacksons.
No, there were stories about him before the movie ever came out.
Stories about him, but the irony
stories came from somebody. They saw it. I mean, he would do this kind of stuff where people could see it. I mean, it's not.
It's Jay. The irony of those stories that you're talking about, those Jackson kids, when they became adults and parents, the story they talked about the stories differently. See, we're listening to people when they're triggered, and then when the time passes, you're like, it wasn't really like that, but it's too late by then. Hold up.
He had 9 children. One of them are normal. That says something.
But see, here's the thing, though, because see, those kids, I think that the fame had a lot to do with how they turned out as far as them not being normal. I don't think it had anything to do with the discipline in that household, because when I talk to people of that generation, like my parents, they said that they got whooped like that too, and they're normal. So you can't look at that situation and say it was just how his parents whooped them and talked to them and stuff like that. I think it also had a lot to do with the fame, the money. A lot of that stuff played into why those kids are so messed up. They're in the public eye, they're in the spotlight. I mean, regular people didn't have to deal with that.
Hold on. I'm going to say this. I got you, BMT. I'm going to say this. This is what I mean about the Jacksons. In parenting, you remember when Michael Jackson was looked at as crazy for covering his kids' faces? And now that he's dead and 20 years later passed, everybody go, oh, that made a whole lot of sense. That's how we look at Black parents and Joe Jackson. It's terrible when it happened, but we forget the part like, now I see why they did that. You got it, BMT.
Yeah. We forget the Jacksons. They were from Gary, Indiana, and that's a pretty rough spot. You know what I'm saying? I've heard and I've seen people come from Gary, and they say, "Hey, man, it's pretty rough out there in those communities." So I think people overlook the part where Joe used to keep his kids busy. Like, hey, y'all don't need to be out there. Girls be in there with your mama. Boys, I'm gonna keep y'all busy doing X, Y, and Z. And he gave them something to focus on rather than being in the streets with the other kids that didn't have their parents. He had them at home and focusing on music and other stuff to get them out
But
of
I
that
don't, I
community.
don't, but
So,
I don't think anybody had anything bad to say about the fact that he kept his children busy, that
well,
he taught them skills and so forth and so on.
but
I'm
they
saying
saw
the
that.
difference.
But see, people called it abuse. They would call it, well, he's
No, it was
abusing them
because
kids.
he was.
You
But
you
Terrence,
got you
you
got to think you're taking your children. You're taking a black family from nothing to we can't make the same mistakes like the Partridge family or these other kind of the Brady bunch and stuff. We got to be on point with everything. We mess up one time and they throw us to the side, you know. And mind you, all his kids got singing, pretty much singing deals. You know what I'm saying? The weird as they came out, he got them all through. That's you know what I'm saying. I'm not condoning any abuse, but we're seeing that they had the issue. Ain't no family perfect, because we see how they demonize. The minute they find out there's some issues in your family, they'll throw out everything. Especially let it be a black family. We'll hear with the Shaquille O'Neals or any kind of family that makes it up there. But when it's a when you're a single entity, and you're trying to do it, it's more so you're on your own. You're on your own, and we've been doing this rogue system for a while. Uh, I don't need nobody. I get it by myself. Okay, but how has that been working out so far? And I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Faith and MJ and Queen Wolf Clan. It was a good talk with y'all ladies. Single life, happy life for y'all. Y'all women, stay out
You
there in the
too, Mr.
wilderness
Lar.
where y'all belong. Y'all want to be out there. But now we see it's not very fruitful for a lot of people, especially in our community. We're seeing a lot of dysfunctionality. We might get those small stories of, well, I'm doing good, but then all of a sudden we'll see that person say, well, they'll bring up the mass or the multitude. But I'm like, but you separated yourself. So you're now on the individual system. So you got to do for yourself. No, you got to watch out for yourself. And be for real. It's not. It's not. I don't want y'all to think even the guy. I know you might hear guys come online say, "Oh yeah, I'm living a single life. It's amazing," but you notice they keep on asking. So the women, what are the women doing? Why aren't the women doing this? Why? So I mean, I'll be like, well, damn, brother, if you single, why are you worrying about the women? But then the women are saying that they single and they living their best life in hot girl summers. But then they asking, well, why ain't the men caring about us? So I'm like, y'all technically y'all do care. Y'all just putting on poker faces, but y'all don't really know how to actually have standard of how to actually take care of each other. That's the only thing I'm looking at it like.
hold on, Bomb. Hold up,
I'm
Bomb.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good.
Look
Hold
at
on for
Bob. What
one
you doing up
second.
here, bro?
Hold on, Bomb. You got it, and Queen, you got it, cause y'all both been silent, so I respect that. Go for it, Bomb.
No, I wanted to just say that I agree with what you were saying, L.A.R. A lot of things you were saying I agree with. I think the only thing that I part with you, because I've been listening to you for a while, is when you get on the looks. You know what I mean? So when at first you were saying people need to love themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say respect yourself, love yourself, and when you love yourself, you will take the time to figure out what it is that you like to do, what it is that you want in life. What do
Right.
you want in a partner? But then on the other side of that, by you being this handsome man, which I do think you're a handsome man, you then say, well, we got some women and men, you didn't say man or woman, but who has confidence when maybe they shouldn't have the confidence. And I just wanted to just say, maybe those are the people who do love themselves, right? You love yourself even with your faults. And maybe it's not a fake sense of confidence. It might be just a confidence in knowing who they are and just loving themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I absolutely get what you're saying. Let me be a little bit more specific. What I mean is there are people out here who have fake confidence and they act like people can't see it's fake. I understand if a person is confident in themselves, but there are a lot of people who are faking like they're confident in themselves, and everybody can see through that except even them. And that becomes annoying to have to deal with it.
I'm
Oh,
saying
okay. I see what you're saying.
if someone's not like a 10, or like people say an adjustable 7, are they supposed to go around with their life just hanging their head down low and saying, I'm not fit to be walking around you, I'm just a mere mortal? I don't see what's wrong with someone who maybe they don't fit the standard of beauty, but they still live their life and they're not going around apologizing for how God made them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I'm saying sometimes the society makes people feel like they're just too ugly to be walking around.
No, no.
Right.
I mean, like
Right.
Lizzo is a
Right.
perfect.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Lizzo is a
Right.
perfect example. She
A
is a big
new
Exactly.
woman.
And I
millennium.
think that she's beautiful.
I'm saying she's a big woman, but people are really
She's
upset
gorgeous.
with the fact that she's not hiding in the corner because she's fat.
No, that's not
And it's
my.
just now I'm saying the way
And
she dresses.
Lizzo is beautiful.
But I'm
Now
saying
in the
some of the
South,
outfits she
you take
wears
that in the
is
South.
way too much. She goes overboard with it. So
She
I don't
does.
think just because I don't think people act like she's almost not even fit to be in her job, the job she
Right.
has. Like she shouldn't
Right.
be the singer. She should sing the
Right.
songs. She's not. She is bigger, but she has a good voice. She can write songs. So
She's
other than the fact that she
extraordinary.
has her ass cheeks out too much,
Right.
I
I don't
think
see
she's
what's
a
Why
wrong
beautiful.
with
is
it.
I
that?
think she's a,
Why is that?
I,
Why is that?
because she want to, because
That's just
it's her
her.
ass cheeks.
But I'm saying
I'm a
no.
big
But I'm saying
woman.
No,
also that's just her.
I think
I don't think you should be having your
that's
ass
not
cheeks
it.
out if you're. I don't
Yeah,
think you have your ass cheeks out whether you're skinny or not. But I'm saying besides that part, people acting like she almost does. She shouldn't have a career. Like
no,
how
Right.
dare you get up on stage and
Right.
sing to me? You're not Beyonce, and I think that
Right.
part is dumb.
no.
So I don't.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying. People like her. The
But
society wants to
you
shame
know
them
why
like
she
that.
has her ass cheeks out?
And I'm saying,
Do
but
you know
before
why
she
she
had her
has her
ass cheeks
ass
She
out,
cheeks
wasn't
out all the
barefoot
time?
and pregnant.
but I'm saying, but before she did that, people were talking shit about her.
hold up. Let me mix these two people. Let me mix a few people. Lizzo, Cardi B,
Oh
Megan Thee
Lord.
Stallion, Nicki Minaj, and the City Girls, right? Let me explain something about all of them that is prevalent. They're all lewd and they're all insecure, and we can tell that they're not confident.
But I'm saying Lizzo gets the more shit, even though she's not as outrageous as
Right.
the other ones.
But
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. They're giving her
Right.
more stuff. They're giving her more
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. So I mean, you're right. They all are. But I'm saying they come after her way more than they do anybody else.
Right,
Because
because of her size.
And she
But
didn't.
Right.
She never talked about the fact that she was drugging men and bringing in transsexuals and
Come
assaulting
on now.
them. And but they
Why are
act
we
like she's the
attacking?
criminal.
Leave her.
Well, hold on a second, but I have to give you some pushback though.
Not that big.
go ahead, go ahead, man. So, I'm doubling.
Drink
Somebody,
your water, face.
No, I
Drink
mean
your
they're
water.
all terrible. Don't get me wrong. None of them
so
are
why
like
are
a
they
great part of
okay, wait a
society.
minute.
wait.
Somebody's
Somebody's doubling.
yeah, somebody messed up over there.
I got
Yeah,
you. Somebody.
But I think she
I
just
got
somewhere.
you.
She wants
I
love.
got you.
Faith
I got
wants
you.
love.
Let me.
Aw.
I'm gonna cut.
Oh, that's
Hold
dumb.
up.
I think that's Keith.
No, that's not me.
No, it was fake.
Is that me?
Yeah. You done now, though. I think.
No, I still hear it. It's coming through King.
Okay.
No,
Check. Okay. Bomb,
Testing. Testing.
you mute. Let me hear yours.
Hello.
Okay,
Check. Okay.
check.
BMT, that's you. It's you then, fam.
Is it me now?
Yeah, it was you. Hold
All
on.
right, let me try.
Okay. All right. Faith, I know you was we didn't kick you off. Oh.
I didn't blame a black man.
That's you, fam.
Is it still me now?
Yeah, it's still you.
All right, send me the link. I'm coming back.
I'll put it in the chat. I think I put it in the chat. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Okay, so I have a different point of view about those women they're women, they're entertainers, and they're showing their bodies because that's how you make it. Unfortunately, that's something you have to do.
Yeah.
Lizzo just happens to be a bigger woman doing it,
Doing it.
but
Yeah.
there's a lot of women in our communities. We have the right to dress the way we want to dress. So I understand where people don't agree. You wouldn't dress the way she dressed, but to agree whether she is dressing, the
I
way she
think.
should or
I
shouldn't,
mean,
that's another
she
topic.
does have the right, but you have to understand that people are going to comment.
See,
Right, right.
So
here's
you
where
can't expect people not to comment. That's just the world we live in.
here's where it goes too far. And this is not this. I'm talking about her, but just the mentality itself. When you get to a point where everybody you want to be able to do what you want to do, and it offends other people, but they're not supposed to respond to it. Now we got
Right,
problems because if
right.
you're gonna be offensive, or you're gonna be lewd, or you're gonna be crass, or you're gonna be ignorant, you're gonna get a response. This idea that I shouldn't get a response because I'm this or that becomes childish to me. I got
Agreed.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know
And
what?
not
I
everybody's
can't
going to be
say.
judged the same and judged equally. You have to just understand it. As a bigger woman, she should understand that. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that she should get more nonsense from the other people, even though they all act the same. But understand that society we live in. So you can't go out there and cry about it when you're acting that way.
Yeah, I think so. I understand her point of view because let me say this. There are more men who like women her size than not, but they hide it. So in behind the scenes, these men hit up on big women, but in public, they'll get on their channel and make lewd comments, bad comments about her size. And that is where big women like myself and her and the rest of us, that's the part we don't like.
Well, let me say this: if more men like women of that size, they wouldn't be hiding the fact. They'd be proud of it. So I'm sorry,
No, they
but
don't.
like,
They don't. They do that because they don't
hold
want to
on,
be
hold
clowned
on.
by
Let
other
let
people.
let me say what I'm trying to say. Okay, at the end of the day, if you liked it, you're not worried about getting clowned by other people like that.
That's not
People
true.
Yeah,
just
they do. They
women
no.
can
They're
We've seen
women
worried.
that for
women.
years. We've seen that for
Hold on.
centuries, baby.
Okay, hey, I'm talking. All right, women can keep trying to convince themselves that the average brother wants a fat woman. It's never going to work. Lizzo, her situation, she's just not a likable person, and she's fat on top of it. Plus, she's out there crazy and wild. There's nothing to like about her. Now, is she good musically? Sure.
Oh, for sure.
She's I've heard her say I don't really listen to her music, but I've heard a couple things from her. They sounded pretty decent. So I think she does have a musical skill. Is there anything else to like about her? No, not from anything I've ever seen. She's just not likable at all.
You
Now
don't
people
know
can have
her.
I just,
That's
I
no
think,
no
why.
I think,
no
I
no
think it's just, I think it's the
she
eye of the
has
beholder. That's what
she
I think.
she has a public image. What she has shown about herself, I've seen
Mm.
nothing likable about that woman. You don't have to like my opinion, but I'm just telling you what's real. She's not
I
a likable
listen.
person.
I understand,
And,
but listen to what you just said. You don't have to like my opinion, but it's real. It's really your
okay,
opinion. So when
well,
I say that
but I'm
there's
what I'm
lots
saying
of
is
men, wait
she's
a
getting
minute.
flack.
When I say that
I'm,
there's a lot of men who like women like her, right? And you try to say, well, women, you're confusing or you're lying about men liking women like her. You could go to her page and see she has
no,
millions of men
Yeah, I
liking her.
know, right?
look, Lizzo is a celebrity. She's gonna have a lot of people following her. That's
Right.
that's not to be argued. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the average man, no, the average man is not gonna like a bigger woman. That's just
So
how it is.
am
And
I
that now
celebrity? Have you ever
you can
heard of
say
me?
I'm wrong.
That's
You
my
can say
question.
I'm wrong. But
Have you heard of me? Am I a
hold on,
celebrity?
hold on. Let me
When I
say what I'm
tell you
saying.
a
If
million men following my big
look,
ass,
look,
am
look,
I
look.
a celebrity?
Okay, all I'm saying is if I'm wrong, we will see bigger women going up the aisle. I don't see. I've never been to a fat woman's wedding. I know they happen, but I've
That's,
never been to one.
Oh,
well,
I
just
have.
you one person, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm saying I've never. But
Exactly.
I'm one person that has never been to one fat woman's wedding.
How
and I
many
know it
weddings have
happened
you
here
been
or
to?
there.
You probably
Look,
haven't been
look,
to more than
look,
10
Where's that
weddings
smell
in your
coming
life.
from?
look. The point is this. The point is this. The average man doesn't really like bigger women. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a man who likes a bigger woman. Sure, there are some men that like bigger women. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying I see no evidence that the average man likes bigger
No,
women.
I turned it off.
What you mean by the average? So explain to me what the average man, because that would be the
Okay,
everyday
the
men
majority
in the
of men,
community.
the
Yeah,
majority of the majority of men don't pursue bigger women. They will take a
that,
woman who got fat while she was with him, had his kids, built a life with him, and he'll still respect her and honor her because she was the woman that started out on this journey with him. But even in those scenarios, those are women who pick up weight over time. Men on as a vast majority, we're not pursuing big women to start anything with.
that
That's
is
all
not
I'm saying.
true, dude.
Okay,
You
if you don't believe it, that's fine.
right? I know I don't believe you because I know the facts. I know what I see with my
Okay,
own two eyes in our
okay,
community and online.
Right.
So I
okay,
understand what you see, but I'm a part
Right.
of a community that you probably never even heard of. You know,
Right.
okay,
you heard of BBW. That shit is something that's huge,
Huge. It's
huge.
huge.
okay. I've
You
heard
got
of it.
BBW with
Okay,
more followers
It
than some of
is.
these celebrities.
okay,
Right.
okay.
Right. For real.
My apologies, y'all. My
Yeah,
computer just decided to murder itself.
yeah.
Oh no.
But all I want to say when it comes to the Lizzo situation, Lizzo don't present herself as the most likable person, period. And then you put her being big on top of it. That's an extra special sauce when it comes to her. If Lizzo was acting better and more likable, people wouldn't have such an issue with her. I think a lot of people bring up the fat part because that's an easy thing to get behind. That woman just ain't likable for a lot of people. I've never met somebody who said Lizzo has a great attitude. The only thing I hear people even saying anything about Lizzo is something associated with how fat she is. If it's not associated with how fat she is, no one's talking about how Lizzo's a great person.
Did you see
Well,
her
I have a
video?
question. What is it? I'm sorry. What is it that Lizzo has done that has made her unlikable?
She's fat
When,
and she
when,
doesn't
Hey,
when,
I
dress
when,
can't
when
appropriately.
I can't figure out what
how
Lizzo
she
did wrong.
conducts
I can't
herself in
Right.
public and how she
She's fat.
conducts
She
herself
doesn't
in
dress the way people want her to dress. That's it.
Right.
how she
Right.
conducts herself in public, and she's also loud and annoying as well.
There's
So
men who like that.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
I'm
gonna
not
lie.
saying you can't find
I'm
any
saying
man to
Cardi
like.
B is way worse
Man,
than
but first of
thank
all,
you.
Lizzo
Right.
a
Thank you.
thousand
there's
points.
There's
Thank you.
390 million people in America. You can always find a person who will like something.
A
But I'm saying
person.
people. What I'm
Right. But
saying
I'm
is,
just saying Cardi B is
You
a
got
thousand times worse than Lizzo.
Yes,
Let's
she
be
is.
real.
Exactly.
I'm not saying she isn't. I wouldn't let Cardi B in the house. That's how I feel about Cardi B. I wouldn't let her in the house. But
Hold
at
on,
the
hold
end of
on,
the day,
hold on. I see Bishop George and Gigi never spoke. Go ahead, let them holler.
Oh, hi everyone. I don't know if you
Thanks,
can
sis.
hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what the problem was with Lizzo. Lizzo's okay. You don't know
Right.
Lizzo like that. I mean, she cried on camera saying, how much that hurt her feelings. Why would you want to hurt her feelings more?
Right.
Like, what
Because
is
she's fat.
wrong with it? No,
Right.
that's not a reason. That's not
I'm telling you, people treat her the way they
you know
treat her
because
compared to
you
other
because
people.
you
She's
said
fat.
because you said that you gonna be fat, you gonna have a fat baby.
I'm not saying it's
I'm
right. I'm telling you
listening.
that that's the
I'm
reason why
telling
they treat
you.
her that
I'm
way.
telling you. I'm
Right.
telling you. You do that, and that's what's gonna happen to you.
what are you
I'm not
talking about?
saying I
Because
do that. I'm saying that's
nobody
why
said that.
No,
society
no,
treats
no,
her
no,
that
no.
way.
Look.
That's the way it is.
Look. She's an entertainer. She don't gotta explain herself to you, just like you don't gotta explain
Nobody has to
yourself
explain
to me.
themselves to anybody. But you just said
Exactly.
that I said something about her that I did not say.
I'm
So
not
my
trying
thing
to
is
argue with
don't
you.
lie.
I,
No, what I'm saying
I
is don't lie on me either. I don't care who you are.
Sit your
Don't come up
ass
here lying
down
on me
somewhere in the
saying I said
corner
something.
and think about
No,
what you
no,
did.
no.
Hold on
First of
for a second.
all, you
Hold
ain't
on.
you ain't
Just
my
let her
mother.
finish first. Just let
Don't
her finish.
lie on me. Period.
Oh,
Your
we trying
mother
to
should
have.
have done a good job. Is your mama fat? Is that why
Well,
you ain't
y'all,
Who
married
let's
her?
not make
cares?
it
Who
personal. Let's
cares
not make it
exactly?
personal.
yeah.
We're
Let's
I'm
check.
trying to
I'm
have a
not trying.
conversation. Let's be mature.
But it's
So let
kind of
me.
like look, listen to me. I sat there and I'm listening on this anger on this person, on somebody who somebody did something to somebody somewhere way back when, and they bringing it up on somebody they don't even know, or anybody they don't know.
But
And
Right?
how did you hear that?
The thing is, I work, okay, I work on my health because I work on my health. But I don't knock nobody down because I've got my own shoe. If you left me chocolate and cookies and sugar all day, I will turn fat.
Hold on. Hold on for 1 second. Let
what are
me
we
let me
talking
let
about?
me try to make a point about this. Earlier I said her and the other women I mentioned were lewd and and insecure. When it comes to her, Miss J keeps saying it's because she's fat, it's worse. My question is this: people who are lewd do not get treated well regardless. So why should she be any different?
Would you consider me to be lewd, L.A.R? Be honest. I'm kind of lewd. I'm
Stop it.
not kind of lewd, baby. I'm lewd. I'm lewd.
Okay,
And,
so
and I get treated with a lot of respect. So it's not about, I understand where the men who judge a woman based on how she's dressed, right? And then you make assumptions. And I'm not talking about you per se, okay? I'm not talking about you. But I understand where some of you men assume that other men feel the way you do, but that's not how this thing works. There are men who love certain types of women.
listen,
Yeah.
no, Bond. I'm gonna say this just so you understand where I'm coming from. Just because you can be lewd and you're treated with respect, you're an exception to the rule.
But can I say
You get what
something,
I'm saying?
LAR?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
The other thing about that is what men don't like about men who do that stuff, who prop up lewd women, is this: we know their intentions for those women, and those women are going to wind up on the back end in a negative situation, and then they
Exactly.
all the men negative because of this, and it's like, no, you put something out there. These certain type of men came out there because of what you put out there, looking for something. They are lying to you. It's not, forget the fact that she's overweight. If a woman's out there being extra, insecure, extra fast, guys are gonna come. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I love you, baby. I love the way you do it." But those guys never stay. They never stay, and it's for a reason because they're there for what you advertise. I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. But I disagree with you based on these women are getting married, these women are in relationships, they having children. So, but I do understand why you made those statements. I understand what a lot of people think because you think because you like certain things or dislike certain things, you assume that other men don't or that they shouldn't, right?
Hey, can I
No,
tell?
no, no, no,
So,
no, no, Bomb. That's not
What?
what I'm saying
no,
is
go ahead.
let let me let me say this to you.
Wait, we can't hear you, babe. Wait a
LAR, you
minute.
sound terrible.
Wow.
You
LAR, we
sound
can't hear you, brother. Brother, we can't hear you. Brother, your sound is out, brother.
LAR, get the sock out your mouth.
bro.
Okay, well, you know what? While LAR is having some trouble,
He sound like he's making a good
Look,
point too, and
look,
that damn
yeah,
Roger.
person
he
can
Look,
hear him.
probably is.
Roger. Look, my bad. I didn't come. I'm sorry for coming on strong. That's not how I am.
No,
But
I'm the
it's
pro-
just I'm listening to. I'm calculating and I'm looking at the things that's happening, right?
Right.
And it's like I can't see who's being on the right or the wrong of things right now.
LAR,
Right.
your mic messed
I
up.
get that, but let me just tell you something real quick. So, because I'm gonna bounce off anyway. But let me tell you something real quick.
Yes.
Because the thing is, Lizzo is not likable. There's a lot of people who do not like Lizzo.
For
And
what
it's not just me that
reasons?
doesn't like
What does
Lizzo.
she what does she
And
do?
hold on, listen to me. Listen to me. Stop trying to cut me off and make me say something about what you want to put across. Let me say what I'm trying to put across. Okay? Lizzo is not a likable person. So far, every time I hear a person speak about Lizzo, it is nothing complimentary. No one seems to like her personality. No one seems to like the way she acts in public. No one seems to like anything about her but her music. And when people come to defend Lizzo, they always try to associate something with her being fat. And if you got to tell me something about her being fat, now she got a right to be as fat as she want to be. That ain't
Okay.
the issue. But
I'm
you
starting
can't
to
lay,
realize that.
but but my thing is, you can't lay the fact that she's not a likable person on the fact that she's fat. There's fat people that's very well
You
liked.
the one who said she was fat, baby. So
No, I did say she was
yeah,
fat and
so
she
it
is
wasn't no.
but her personality is not connected to
Mm.
the fact that she's fat.
But
Her
the men like
personality
her.
is her personality.
Right.
That she has a whole a group of men who love her, not because of her
Yeah.
singing. It's because of her
Yeah.
shape.
Deeper than
Hey,
that,
For real.
can I say
um,
can I say something? Hey, can I jump in and say something real quick?
yes.
Somebody mic is on. I got a problem with
We
is my
gotta mute
connection okay?
ourselves when BMT talk, y'all, so it won't have that, so people can hear.
Yeah, can y'all hear me now? I don't know who's talking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
hear. I can hear Bishop.
yeah. I think my connection is messed up. Yeah, yeah.
No, it's not you, Bishop. Wait a minute.
Okay.
So when
I was on mute.
BMT talk, we have
I
to
was on
mute
mute.
because it's BMT, okay?
No, I
But
was
Okay.
muted. I was actually muted, so that wasn't me that time. I
Yeah, it
actually
might be.
muted myself.
All right. Let me just say this real quick. I got a problem with all of them, whether it's the male entertainers or female entertainers. We actually support these people that we would never that we actually won't do. We don't like our children to do, but we'll come on platforms and protect and support these people. Like, no, I don't like if you going out of your way and you're producing a product that's something that you wouldn't even be yourself or your children to be in order to make money. And like we've normalized this dysfunction. Like nobody on here would want their daughters to behave like Lizzo. Like I wouldn't want my sons to behave like little baby or none of them people. So no, I got a problem with a lot of their attitudes and the way that they project themselves out to the world. So, and I think that what Bob Cherry was saying, there's a lane in our community for big women. I'm not attracted to fat women, but I know that there are men that are attracted to fat women. And in our community where a lot of our people are overweight, period, especially today. So yeah, it is. But I would say in my circles, as my 45 years of living, growing up, the big woman wasn't always the first choice, but there was always a lane for her because for one dude that didn't want her, there's a guy that might take her. There's a guy that might take her. The problem is you sometimes in the communities you've seen big women overcompensating just to have a man. And I think that's where some of the brothers are coming saying that she gets used. But for the most part, there's lanes for big women, but they're not always just the first choice all the time. But there's definitely lanes for
aren't you in Philly?
them. Yeah,
Shit.
yeah, it's lanes.
I'm sorry, baby. Y'all,
Right.
Philly got a whole community with nothing. There's parties all the time with nothing but big women, and the men
Right.
come out in droves.
All
And
the East Coast. Yeah.
because I'm right here where he's at. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And people drive from all over to come to Philly just to be around them big women.
yeah,
And
and
so
I,
I under.
I was yeah,
And then
real
you
quick,
say we
Bob.
overcompensate. What does that mean? That
No,
means
no,
what?
no. What I'm saying, see, we gotta listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is because everything ain't a challenge. Sometimes it's just listen. What I'm saying is some big women, and growing up in the communities we come from, because they don't like to be lonely. They overcompensate to keep a man. But I don't think that that's all women. But you see it in the community. And what I said was there's lanes for big women. If you got five dudes out here and they all looking for a woman, she might not always be the first choice, but there's a dude that's inside that five dudes that like big women. So there's always you see women, big women with men because it's dudes that like big women. I don't disagree with that. I just don't think that she's always the first choice, but you do see women. There is a lane and there's avenues and there's different places, especially here where big women is the choice of a man. I can't disagree with that. I just don't think that she's always. I've been a young boy and a man all my life, and just being in male circles. She's not always the first choice, but she definitely get chosen.
Look, all I'm trying to say, because people are
So we
trying to
can.
muddle my message.
I think
The
it
only thing
definitely
I'm trying,
depends on the man.
So
Right.
the only thing I'm
let me
trying to say,
process this, man. Let me
man, can I
process
get
this
this
for
one
you.
sentence out so I can leave, please? The only thing I'm trying to say is, if I don't like a woman, don't give me a story about how she's fat and try to make it attached to her being fat, like because she's fat, she's supposed to be protected. There's people you just don't like. Lizzo, for me, happens to be one of those people. So the fact that she's fat, people say, well, no, you're just saying that because no, she's not likable. Period. I don't see her as a person that I would ever want to hang out with. I would never want to date a woman like her. I would never want to be associated with a woman who acts like her in general. If my daughter acted like her, I'd probably be somewhere crying, trying to figure out how I'm gonna fix it. I don't like the woman. And people say, well, no, it's because it ain't got nothing to do with her being fat. I just don't like that woman.
No,
So
you
my
have the
thing is,
right. You have that right,
no,
David. You have
my
that right.
point is,
Exactly.
Tell
no,
me if y'all can
my
hear me
point
now.
is, my point is, if
Yeah,
I
we can
say
hear
I
you
don't
now.
like a woman,
Yes, sir.
yeah, my only point is, if I say I don't like a woman, stop trying to attach it to that she's fat. It ain't because she's fat. I just don't like her. Period.
No,
So
somebody asked you why don't you like her, and you said because she's fat. You did
No, I
that.
did
No
not.
one else.
I did not say that.
Exactly.
Okay,
I
okay.
did not
So
say that.
let me
What?
cut in at this. I see. I mean, I'm a little bit over the Lizzo thing. Like people are gonna choose whatever they choose. I get tired of hearing people saying the average man because I've been trying to figure out, well, who's this average man? One minute we hear
That's what I've
average
been
man,
wondering.
and then we're
And,
hearing the average man. I'm like, what the hell? So now there's
and,
a standard now. Like, shit, get out of here. Like, let's not play. I'm not gonna play this joke because shit. I live up and down the East Coast, and people would I hear these narratives. Nobody gonna take the single woman. Nobody gonna take the dude who has a misdemeanor. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, people, if they see it, they're gonna holler at it and they're gonna try to get at it. Big Shirley working at Waffle House, she ain't lacking, but she knows she got a dude laying up on her couch and piping her down. So
Right.
we need to stop these damn narratives. Some now, I think the
It's the
issue now, and I got to
excuses.
give a shout out to Faith. I got to give a shout
And
out to Faith that now we're in an era where women and men now have the option where I don't have to put up with your bullshit. Or like how Mister would always tell Miss Sophia, you ugly, ain't nobody gonna ever love you. They're like, okay, cool. There's a market for me somewhere out there. I just don't gotta fuck with you.
yes,
And
because
Exactly.
people are pissed off at that because guess
Right.
what? I don't have to deal with you. I just gotta be at the right place, the right time, and have the right energy. And guess what?
everybody got an
Somebody
excuse.
so this narrative, listen, I don't give a shit what Becky, Karen, or anybody outside like. All I care about is what I like at the end of the day. Like that's the problem why a lot of people are single. You trying to keep up with Instagram and all these social devices of what they tell you to like, but not what you actually like. And so this is why people set up a barrier of single lifestyle. And I mean, I got nothing against that. You know what I'm saying? Like you already know me.
BMT, you're not that you on nonsense.
Yeah, I don't give a
When
shit
I
what they
literally
tell you. I
said
don't listen, bro. I never asked for
fat
listen.
women ain't being taken down the aisle. That is what
Yes, they
people
are.
are doing from a majority
How do
standpoint.
you
They're
know? How
not
do you
taking
know
fat
this?
women down the
How
aisle.
do you know this that fat woman ain't being taken down the aisle? How,
Be,
like, who
because
agrees?
if they were going down the aisle on a regular basis, then you
Who?
go to weddings with fat women. You will see them in all types of newspaper articles. Fat women are celebrated when they get married. They make an
Let
effort
me
to
just
celebrate fat
Boy,
women get
where
married.
you,
hold on.
you need to get
Let me
off of
just
Does
say
he
YouTube,
this.
bro.
watch Bridezillas?
No,
Yeah, you need to get off of YouTube, fam.
let me do this to be
Get off
absolutely
of
fair.
YouTube, man. I don't know where you get all this shit that
Let
Oh,
women.
oh,
Thank you.
I don't
hold up,
know
hold
either. I
up,
if
don't know
you
fellas.
how you
believe fat women get married like that, that you can have that, brother.
Bro,
I ain't been
I
to
live
a
in the
fat
real
woman's
world. I
wedding
live in
yet.
the real world, bro.
I
Women,
ain't been
Hold
to
up.
a fat woman's wedding yet. I
Tell
ain't
me if
been
you
to
can hear
one.
me now.
they
Can you hear
pick
me?
the
yeah,
best
go ahead,
man.
Lizzo
Elliot.
not going to
Okay.
invite you to her
Listen.
wedding neither.
Here, let me
Listen,
just be the bad guy for everybody, the Scarface bad guy. Let me be honest about this. Fine women ain't getting married too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
What's
you,
you.
really
thank
Thank
what's
you,
really
you.
thank
what's
you,
really
Thank
thank
going
you.
you,
on? Hold
thank
up.
you.
I'm gonna just say it this
I've
way
got
to
a
be
bunch
fair
of
about it. What's
friends.
really going on is people swear to God that they'll catch and they swear to God that they could be single forever. So
Uh-oh.
nobody's really committing to anything because they swear to God something better's coming.
Exactly.
And then they fall clean off of a cliff with the rest of the other billion people, and they don't want to be in the trash with everybody.
Shit.
There it is.
People getting happy. Like, listen, if I find somebody that bumps with me, that dog will do right by me, shit. People be trying to lock that down and say, yo, man, like, hey, I know I ain't the goddamn the fucking diamond in the mine, but shit, I'm willing to make this shit work, baby. And guess what?
Right.
They'll rock it out and they'll make it work. I don't know why we
Right.
keep going by this, what they said on this channel or what they said on this social media. I don't give a shit. They told me I was supposed to be dead at 21 and I'm still
Okay.
bumping out here in the streets. So I don't give a shit what the average man, but you ain't me. I'm me and
Right.
I'm doing me. So guess what?
Right.
I ain't got no problems over here in these streets. I don't get on YouTube and bitch about women. I don't get on YouTube and bitch about where the men at. And listen. People living their lives every day, and yeah, that's a problem. We try to put these narratives of our lives on other people. When other people are like, oh, cool. If you
Has anybody been to a fat woman's wedding?
Let me be the bad guy for everybody. For all the men and all the women on the panel. I'm finna be the bad guy for everybody.
Okay.
I know for a fact that most of these single people are full of shit because if your friends get in a relationship, you're going to start to be a hating ass bitch because you're going to lose your friend.
Preach!
There it is. Wow.
Say that! You know what? That can be true, but just real quick, has anybody been to a fat woman's wedding?
No.
Has anybody been to a fat woman's wedding?
Yes. Yes.
Talk about the fat woman, man.
Yes. You
Yes, of course.
I'm just asking a question because y'all. No, I'm asking a question because y'all talking like what I'm saying is just crazy. So I'm just asking, has anybody been to a fat
You are talking crazy.
You are.
Can we, okay, so I'm simply asking a question because I've been to a lot of weddings and I haven't been to a fat wedding.
No, but can we move
Okay,
on?
no, Roger. I will answer your question. Yes, I've been to a bunch because I was born in New Orleans. I lived in Chicago.
Come on now.
And
we live in the South, baby. That's normal.
Come on now.
Black
we live in the
people
South,
get
baby.
married.
Come on now.
We
I'm
get
gonna be honest.
married.
I'm gonna be honest.
Get married every year.
And look, I'm gonna tell you this.
Thank you.
Watch this. Hold up. Roger, last year I went to Vegas. On the strip by the Stratosphere, they got the chicken and waffles place, right? There was a fat black couple with all of their fat friends eating, taking their wedding pictures because they got married at the chapel right next to it.
I would have joined in.
And there's a funeral going down the street.
The club. Hey, let me ask a question real quick before I get off. Because I don't want to stay stuck. I don't want to stay stuck on the fat stuff. My issue is this: us as adults, because I hear people always say, well, especially women, well, they could dress how they want to dress, they could do what they want to do. But then I ask the question because I'm on a lot of these panels, and when I'm doing my channel, I want to know, us as adults, when do we draw the line? Because if it's something that we ourselves wouldn't do, we wouldn't allow our children to do. But we know if we see them doing it on TV, it's a reflection of what's going on in the community. So in my mind, we can't just wear what we want to do or do what we want to do. Our boys can't just do what they want to do. There has to be some line in the sand. I think a lot of us, even myself at times, we're hypocritical because we'll go to if a woman getting on a guy, we'll jump to defend the guy, even if it's wrong. And women do the same thing. But where do we draw the line? Because half these women would never act like Lizzo, want their children to behave like Lizzo. If you'd seen your daughter behaving like that in the street or in the store or came into church, you would knock her head off. So even if my son was behaving like some of these boys. So where do we draw the line? We can't just do what we want to do. We got to stop that.
Well, I don't think it's on. Like, I get you what you saying about the vulgar actions, right? I get you with that, George. But I'm saying the thing about the narrative that fat women ain't getting wiped up. I don't know. Tax season be saying different to me, but I be seeing them walk in that tax season with like a man or two and shit. They don't be lacking. So yeah, but I don't know. I live down here in the South, man, and them Georgia peaches, they be damn whole peaches walking in. So I don't condone dysfunction, and I know, but you know what I'm saying. Depending on the environment,
All I'm saying, BMT brother, is where do
But
we draw the line with dysfunctional behavior? Because we got a tendency, all of us, us men and women, when the women is jumping on the men, we'll go to defend the man. When the men say something that women don't like, the women to come defend, but knowing damn well we would never co-sign the behavior that we're speaking against.
I
So where do
got
we
you.
draw the line?
I got you. I got you. I got you, George. This is part of the epidemic and part of the problem. What we're not being honest about is you like the we all can agree with the dysfunction when it's working for us. See, when
Yep.
we popping in dysfunctional, it's all good. Now, when the shit hit the fan, now all of a sudden,
It's all bad.
see, because the story's all in bad. We just like
Yep.
to talk about when they pop.
Right. Right.
But
When do we
can I
draw the
say
line? That's all
something?
I'm saying.
Can I say something real quick? Because when are we going to admit as a group that the overweight thing is a problem and that it is a sign of dysfunction in our community?
Go to my channel. I talk about it. I deal with it all the time. Go to my channel. I'm a trainer and I
yeah,
do this.
yeah,
I made a video
you do.
earlier today about it.
You do. You
Because
do.
I notice a lot with a lot of black women, we'll sit up and we'll make a lot of excuses for it, like, oh, men like it, I look good, and all of this, but we steady, coming up with all these diseases, dying from it, and all this
Yeah,
other stuff.
I
You
agree.
mean the same diseases skinny women are getting? Is that what you're talking about?
See, this is what I'm talking about. This right
No,
here.
yeah, this is the
This is
conversation.
this is what I'm
No,
talking
no,
That's
about.
right.
no.
You said let's have
This,
the
yeah,
conversation.
yeah. Let's have the conversation because
Let's have it.
there's not that many skinny women dying from heart disease,
That will be a lie.
diabetes.
That
No,
is a
it's not.
lie.
No, it's
That is,
not.
girl,
There are
you need to
figures
go
out
take
here.
that.
You want to sit up here
You
and
need to
deny
go
the
take
numbers?
that.
You want to sit up here and act like there
You
aren't
need to
any
go take that.
statistics out here
Yes,
showing that
go
no,
and
no,
check
no.
that.
See, I'm not going to let you do it.
I'm in the
I'm not going to
medical
let you do
field.
it.
I
That's
need to go back
denial.
to
Hold on.
You are in
Hold on.
denial.
Why would
Hold
I
on.
be in denial? I don't have heart disease, diabetes, or none of that.
Here
Hold,
we go.
hold on.
Here
Hold
we
on.
go.
Hold
So
on.
I'm not.
I
Why
got.
would I
Here
be
we
in
go.
denial?
wait.
I'm
Wait.
not
Wait.
saying
Wait.
that's not a problem.
Wait. I got
Go
this.
ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
Got
Go
this
ahead.
for both. I got this for the both of y'all. So let me put it like this. I'm at this particular point. I'm 5'8", 170. Right. My father is 6 feet 350. My grandmother was 5'10", about 180, 190, 200. Now, what I'm getting my father's ex-wife is about 5'9", 290. Okay, and
Dang.
yeah. So what the heart problems, like we forget two simple things in our community. There are
Mhm.
basically three different body types,
Yep.
and George knows what I'm talking about because he's a trainer. You know, the slim one, the big one, and the athletic one. You know, I ain't gonna. So if you're
Yeah,
that body type,
so true.
if you're in that body type, you got to be fit for your body type. But what we're doing in our community, you skinny fat, you athletic. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's gonna make you sick because you
But
wasn't
Right.
born to be that size.
because you can
Yes.
be fat, you can be fat skinny. You can be like that skinny
And
unfit.
the problem is if some people are born big and they've been trying all their life to get the weight off, that's one thing. But if you was a girl or a guy and you was physically fit and over time you just got big as a Chevy, man, you putting first of all you carrying around too much weight and
Life
your
happens.
no, hold on, listen. We know life happens, but that's not what I'm saying. Because like we got to. I want to do this in a mature way where we can edify the people because life do happen for many different reasons: depression, anxiety, people binge eat. They do a lot of different things, but that doesn't negate the fact that we have a
Hormones.
high cholesterol level,
Yep.
diabetes, high blood pressure on many different levels.
Hormones.
And we don't have a thing where we practice healthy eating. Our what we call soul food has been killing us for a long time. And the thing is, we got to really start having these B1 discussions about eating and eating the proper foods, knowing our blood types and what's good, what's the proper diet for us. In our communities, we don't practice that. That's something that
Right.
it's not a practice. And then I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna end it with this. What black people do, we wait the tragedy strike before we say, "Oh, okay, now I got to start eating right." I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. You at like,
George, give me 1 second to interrupt so you can take it somewhere,
yeah,
please.
yep,
And for the ladies, I want y'all to hear this specifically. Either take salt, which retains water, out of your diet, or sugar, which puts on fat. You figure out because what winds up happening is a lot of ladies when y'all get stressed, it is that y'all that snacking, y'all don't watch what y'all snacking. The men we do the same thing. You know what's killing? You know what's killing a lot of us? Wings,
Yeah.
goddamn wings and fries.
Well, yeah. Remember,
I agree.
men die. Men
Get an
die.
air fryer.
Yeah, men die at 54. Women live forever, but their quality of life be shitty. And this is the problem in the black community.
Oh,
You know, men
Quality of life.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
this is what it says to Faith. It says, according to the research, underweight people are 5 times more likely to die from having treated from a common heart problems, heart failure.
Okay.
That's what it says. So I'm not saying that yet. I'm not advocating being big. That's not what I'm doing. But what I was saying was sometimes we get on these panels and we say things that we've heard and it's not factual.
So why would you? But why would
oh,
you
can I
Hold
assume
on,
say?
that?
hold on,
Why
hold on.
would you
I
assume?
got you. I got
Real quick, Elliot, because I've been doing this for 20 years. Why would you assume that some people say because you're a big woman, you don't like what you say, you got to challenge it? What I'm saying to you is this: you're right. Slim people do die, but what I'm telling you is overweight people, because most of us don't even understand the weight diagram of what being overweight is. So some people are vastly overweight. And what happens is when you're overweight, your organs are working extra hard in order to move blood through your organs, through your brain, your veins. Our people are sick, man, from so many different diseases because we are overweight, we're obese. You could be see, you got a person walking around 5'7", and he might got muscles, but he 212 pounds. He's overweight. His weight,
Yeah.
his natural weight should be 160 pounds, 157 pounds. Like we don't even understand the actual weight ratio for our bodies or what it is, and then we're eating foods that's actually clogging our arteries. We're not releasing enough waste every day. We're walking around with big ass bellies with all kinds of toxins in our bodies for years, and you
But
don't
I'm
that
not sure what your
Man,
question to
hold
me
on, hold
is
on.
because we wasn't
No,
talking about
no.
overweight.
Hold on, George. I'm
can I say one thing?
go for
I'm
it.
gonna say this. Okay, so I'm thin from the, of course, outside, but I'm very anemic, and I've got a fatty heart, fatty liver,
Mhm.
and it's genetics. That's because back then, I don't know, they gave my mom a shot back in the 80s or whatever
Okay.
while she was pregnant, and I don't know. It was kind of like I wasn't supposed to even. I had so many complications. And so from the get go, they knew, hey, this kid, I don't know. So I have this weird thing that happens. Okay. So just because, what I think, yeah, just because you're thin, I'm staying thin to stay healthy, so I don't put more stress on my
I'm
organs.
hold on. I know what this is to a degree. So I'm gonna answer this. So I'm gonna answer bomb for you, and I'm gonna ask you, GG. What you said specifically was you said people who are underweight. The people who are underweight at a healthy weight and at an overweight.
Yeah.
This is what happens normally. People who are underweight are like are in some ways like fighters. What fighters do, they have to cut to make a certain weight. So when you try to cut yourself to under your actual weight limit, you put stress on your organs and your heart. And a lot of people do that when they want to look a certain way. I want to look like this and like this. You start cutting weight that becomes unhealthy. You go under the limit. It's like so that is what makes people sick. But if you stay at a healthy weight, that's not gonna happen. That's when you see the people with the sweatsuits and the sauna suits, and they and then and you know, one month they this weight, then they lost 10, 15 pounds. Kind of like if you see bodybuilders, when you see bodybuilders who are in the competitions, they spend like a month or something cutting that weight.
Yep.
But
6 weeks.
so what winds up happening is the first thing that they do after the thing's over, they eat because they can't sustain it because it makes them feel terrible. They look great, but they feel terrible. That's what
Yeah.
that's what's making people sick. I get what you're
Well,
saying,
Well,
but
it's
that's
also like some diabetics need sugar and some have to stay away from it. It's a
mhm.
conundrum, but
Hey,
it
and
is
okay.
necessary. It's factual. It's something that happens. It's a phenomenon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna jump off. A lot, some there are some stuff that's passed down in families, but a lot of stuff that we got is not passed down. The problem, a lot of stuff don't run in our family. The problem is in the black community, enough people don't run. Period. A lot of us don't run. We don't work out. We're eating artificial foods. We're not getting the proper minerals that our intake that our body needs to sustain itself every day. So your body starts saving the fat and the water and water retention. And that's why you walk. That's why a lot of times when I'm training women or guys, they'll in the first couple of weeks they'll lose about 15 pounds just off the rip because you're carrying excess water and weight. And then that's where it gets hard to lose the weight. But we're eating artificial foods. We're not eating foods that with the proper with the proper where our bodies is getting proper mineral absorption. And this is why I'm saying whether I don't care whether you big or small because you could be small and still eating high and might not you might it might not be in your body for you to get big, but you eat McDonald's every day. You working a 9 to 5 as a blue collar worker and you're eating on the same type of meals on a schedule for 20 years. You sick as hell too. And like I
Hello?
said, yeah, you're
Hello?
not. Yeah,
Can I ask you something?
yes.
May I ask you something? Um, I've also seen something that when it comes to weight gain or weight loss, medications.
We,
Medications can be an issue for some people as well.
of course, yes. Medications can be an issue in many different
Big
reasons. It could
time.
cause, yeah, it can cause men not to be able to get right. It causes, man. Listen, they can give certain medications can mess up your heart rhythm. So, but this is why I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you if you're
Mental
eating,
a lot of mental health medications
yeah,
puts a lot of weight on people that are in the mental health system.
yeah.
Um,
What
where
we
I've
don't,
seen some that was like really small, and in certain medicines like was it Depakote, Seroquel,
yeah, that my son was,
Effexor,
yeah, my son was. They was trying to give my son Depakote for his seizures, and it was making him sick.
That's
right?
true.
You
That causes
know,
diabetes.
those some of those medicines will put weight on like that. Like
Yeah, it will.
and
Hold
and
on, hold
I've
on,
heard some
Queen. Hold
I've
on.
heard some of the conversations that the doctors have with them, and they tell them like a medicine like a Seroquel. Now I've seen people on Seroquel, and they'll tell me you got to get out there and exercise, and I'm like that stuff. Looking at the person that's on that Seroquel, depending on how much they gave them, okay, they literally look like they're on heroin,
Yeah, make them
like for
drowsy.
real.
Yeah,
How they're
it makes.
so high,
Uh-huh.
they're literally out of whack because a lot of them, especially with people of color, I've seen them give them between 6 to 800 milligrams, and
But
I've
you, but
seen the white people. I've seen them give like I'm where I used to live at. I saw the few that I saw the white people that had them. They gave them no more than 100 milligrams, and I've seen people that was on Seroquel packed up pounds, and then it turned around and gave them diabetes.
but do you know
There
why?
was a
But see,
lawsuit. Matter of fact, there was a lawsuit against Seroquel because of
what it,
things like that, giving them diabetes, putting on all of that weight, and then the diabetes subsequently after that. So it's a
the
lot of
the
factors on
the
why
key,
a
Hold on
lot
yeah,
of
a
people.
second, because I want to add something to this. My apologies. I got to add something to this because it's all
Sure,
black people in here, and we talking about health. So I want y'all to.
sure.
I'm gonna say this again, so it's all out there. If you in your neighborhood, I want no matter where you at, I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on. The further you go out into the better neighborhoods, the better food they gonna give them.
Yeah, food deserts and
Facts,
yeah, we
So
have food
not
facts.
deserts.
not just not just
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say it again, babe.
if you live in a not so good area, you're gonna get the not so good food. You're gonna have to
Yeah,
go
because they
to the
redlined
other
it.
areas. Now, for some people, if you live in a mixed area, like a mixed area, trust me, the lower class area, the middle class area, and the upper class area, it could be the same grocery store. They're gonna get completely different types of food.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, in
That is
different
true.
grocery stores.
but you got to know how to read the labels for what
Yes.
organic and not non-organic is. And all I'm saying is this, and I'm going. We gotta learn how black people, we gotta learn prevention. We gotta learn how to eat to survive, eat to live. And this is the thing, like we got to learn different vegetables, how to use how to eat different beans and not eat so much meat. We got to learn how to make our own vegan burgers. We got to learn how to mix up vegetables and fruits and different things. And we got to learn what these things do when it get in your body and what time you're supposed to be eating, what time this stuff release certain things, how many minerals is in it. Life is a science, man, and your body is a science. And it's your responsibility to now, with all the technology and all the know that we got now, to know what your blood type is. Yeah, know your biology and know the foods that what you could be allergic to, what you may not be allergic to, what you should be eating. Stop, get off of that routine of eating up at the lunch truck every day and drinking your Pepsis and stuff like that. Start juicing. Prevent, because sometimes you could be having cancer cells in your body formulating, but you have the ability to kill them with the certain foods that you eat. Some people, you don't just get cancer yet tomorrow; it forms in your body over time. But if you're eating right over time, doing certain things, it's a possibility you can catch it and kill
Oh,
it.
thank you. Thank you
But
for
but
So,
but,
telling
but
them
we
the
don't
way I
we don't
wanted to
listen.
tell them. Ooh.
one of I listened to a lot of things y'all said, and I mean it's good. I want to try to I'll try to pull it back to the topic about the single lifestyle. I guess y'all started
Right.
talking about black people.
Right.
One of my
Right.
biggest things of a lot of the young people or just people I hire, um, single people don't get insurance. They just don't. They really don't get the health
Right.
insurance that they need uh,
Facts.
for going to the doctor, going in and getting checkups, go
Right.
talking to a dietitian. That's kind of more so falls into the when you're getting into like a family atmosphere because then you have people trying to preserve you. And I'm being very serious about this. You can look it up. I can't tell how many times I've talked to young men. Hey, man, did you go get your colon? And remind you, I watch a lot of people do talk about Chadwick Boseman, but I definitely didn't see those conversations talking about colon check. I hardly didn't see that many
Right.
conversations about the colon check. Like it was like
Right.
Wakanda forever. But I'm like, dude, are everybody gonna skip over the colon check? Oh, I don't know. See. And then they'll say, well, when you get old, no, that's something that you can start doing that in your 30s. I actually already got my colon check. My dad said, hey, have you gotten your colon check? Dad, I don't know about that. Like, why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Like, this is where you actually
Right.
start sitting down and actually start doing your family. Like, in my family, I
Right.
know we have breast cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes. See, I can go down my medical family chart. So after a while, I have to start saying, you know what? Me drinking my doggone beer, eating my pork chops and everything, I now need to start being wary that I got to chill out because guess what? I forgot. I fall in those categories of where these things hit. And see, when you're living for yourself, you got to think I got to preserve myself. That's what I wanted. That's why because also what you how you mentally and physically train yourself. That's how you're gonna appreciate yourself because you're gonna want people around you like, hey, hey, I don't eat that. Well, why not? Come on, man. No, I don't eat that. Like respect. I don't want that in my
Right.
body. I don't
Right.
deal with that. But again, some people like me, I didn't I couldn't really date a woman that smoked cigarettes. It
Oh,
wasn't for me.
BMT. Oh,
So it just
well,
it just it just wasn't for me. Now, some guys don't mind that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Me and mine, we don't mind drinking Coronas, but as far as you know what I'm saying, but after a while we said, okay, family mode. All right, we got to slow down with the wild lifestyle. And some people are in, guess what? I'm gonna live the best of my life, even if it's reckless. But
Yeah.
then you're no longer that damn crisp, clean car. You're that car with that after smell of stuff that you done been doing damage to yourself, living reckless. And it's not disrespect, but it is what it is. So now you're carrying it on. Listen, I want us all to live long, but we understand that the longevity ain't really there because a lot of people by the time, well, damn, baby, you already have health issues at 45, or women are having problems trying to have kids. Like, men, they can't perform, or they have
Right.
depression.
Right.
These things that we're doing in the single life, shout out to Uncle L.A.R., these things are tracking over into that family. So then it's like, well, damn, when did all this start happening? You gotta
well,
you gotta start taking care of yourselves, man. Like, I mean,
PMT.
yes, ma'am.
just the way guys get their colons checked is how we go to the gynecologist. We be like,
Exactly.
oh shoot, we
We
be
have to go,
clenching.
Listen,
right? And we
I
have
had,
to
I
go.
had a female ask me that. I had a female ask me that one time. She said, "Hey, I don't have any
Hold
gas.
up.
Can you take me to the OBGYN?" I said, "I ain't your man." She said, "I
But
know that,
it's
but I just
just
need you to
this.
take me there."
I'm telling you, like we get we get probed by the doctors. It's not
All the
cool
time. All the
But
all the
time.
so what?
time.
All the
I want to ask.
time.
Probably, I'll ask you. Let me
Hey,
ask you. Let me ask my
can you
uncle.
tell me something new,
I'm a,
Doc?
I'm a, I'm a, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be the bad guy again.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you would. I felt it in my spirit. You gonna have to be a better. Why? Why is that? What's up? Do we really? Are we really taking care of ourselves like that in the single life, man?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna warm up. 'Cause I ain't gonna stay on here long now because I gotta go. But I'm gonna have to say this real fast, real ugly. First of all, there's a fear of doctors with fat fingers. Second,
You who you telling?
wait. I just got to do it.
Oh, here we
Second,
go.
if I'm gonna be really honest, there are a lot of black men, and this probably could go to black women too, who don't care as much about their health because other people don't care about them. They care about what they could do for them. So our grind is I got to keep doing this and doing that because they ain't gonna love me if I don't come through. It ain't about our health.
Wow. That's sad.
So,
That's sad.
and the third thing, this is why the single thing is problematic. Your friends and family want to get together and celebrate and do all the things that make you sicker and fight you to do all the things that make you healthier.
Wow.
Can I give another perspective?
Go ahead.
When you're done. Okay, so for black people especially, but men especially, we didn't trust doctors back in the day. Like my dad
Right.
wouldn't go to the doctor to save his life. My grandmother
Right.
neither, because they had a belief that when they go to the doctor, they're gonna end up dying. You go for a toenail problem and end up dying.
In some places that was very real.
Yeah.
You look at Tuskegee. You look at the Tuskegee experiment.
Let me, and I'm not trying to cause a riff about this, but let me say it changed because what wound up happening is, remember, after that, kids got started putting on all them drugs for ADHD. So you got a generation of people who okay because they've been sending their kids to doctors or forcing their kids to take medications. Now you got these adults and young adults that are so accustomed to going to the quote unquote doctor's office and the pharmacy, it don't register to them like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. But they're not going to a doctor to get checkups so much. But no, I see what you're saying. You're right. Because the parents taking them, or the school will make parents take their kids to the doctor.
Yes, because they gotta get the immunizations and things like that, or they're not going to
Yeah,
school.
right. And then if
that.
they look like they talking too much in class, they would tell the parents, you got to go get him on some medication.
Yeah, because they don't want to deal with our children. They don't understand our children. And
Right.
that brings to the point of why it's so problematic to have the women and men outside of our community teaching our children. You ever notice how well our children do when they have someone that reflects them?
Yeah, they do much better.
I did a lot better.
Yeah,
I did a lot better. You know,
I'm gonna
I
have
don't
to.
know. You know.
You leaving us, AR? You leaving us already?
Yeah, because I gotta go do some other stuff. It's been a
Oh,
long
okay.
day.
Well,
But
thank you, sir,
was
for having us
I was
over.
gonna say thank all y'all for coming.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you,
having me.
L.A.R.
Hey, Gigi, I ain't seen
Yeah,
you in a minute, sis.
no, we'll
I'm gonna
get
come over there.
together.
Everybody,
Okay.
y'all have a wonderful evening. I gotta get out of here. Thank all y'all.
Have a good
Peace.
night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You
You
too.
too.
All right. Good night, everybody.